So there's a really important editing tip that I want to share with you today that I wish I'd received when I first started sharing my photography work with others. Now, I'm sure we've all been on photo shoots where we've gone to a location and we've gotten really excited about the thing that we're photographing and the images we've potentially taken, and we just want to race home and edit them as quickly as possible. And tonight I am probably going to find myself in a similar situation. I ventured literally not far from my house, and this is a field and a subject that I can actually see from my house. It's this chimney, this cement works that we can see in the background here. And there's a juxtaposition here that I quite like. It's just the natural aspect of this beautiful field with all the wildflowers and the kind of contrast of that industrial landscape. And the light this evening is looking really nice, so I'm going to grab a quick photo of it and yeah, hopefully have something that is going to make for a good edit. You'll have to excuse the road noise whilst I fire this shot. And that excitement, anticipation, and almost urgency to see that finished photo doesn't just stop at the editing stage. Nowadays, as photographers, we all have a tendency to want to share our work on social media with family and friends, and when you feel excited about a photo, there is that tendency within all of us to want to just get that photo out as quickly as possible. And maybe that's because we want some affirmation. It's human nature for people to seek that type of feedback, and sometimes it's just out of curiosity. We want to share our photos because maybe we just want to see if people feel as excited about that photo as we do. Like I say, this is all basic human nature stuff. But this eagerness quickly leads to a photography bad habit that I guarantee every single one of us has been guilty of at some point. And I will qualify that point about being excited and eager to share work on social media, because I definitely, for one, as I guess a lot of photographers feel, I don't feel that excitement for posting on Instagram. I don't get that dopamine hit that I used to get, but I do feel that this whole idea of being eager and excited to edit and share our photos definitely applies to my professional photography. If I've done a shoot and I've got home and I've edited the photos and I'm just so excited to show the client those images because I anticipate that they will feel that same level of excitement that I feel about the images. And trust me, when that aligns, when you've been able to turn a job around really quickly, you've delivered that gallery and the client has been absolutely thrilled, not only with the work, but also with the time frame of how quickly you've been able to deliver that. Once you get that feedback and that feeling, I guarantee that's something that becomes contagious and something that you just want to keep chasing and chasing for every job that you do. But I feel like that eagerness might hold you back, because doing a job quickly is not the same as doing a job well. But anyway, let me get to the point, because I promise I am getting there slowly, and this is the part of the video where I'm going to share this editing tip. So let's discuss that image that I shared at the start of this video. What do you think the most important part of the editing process for that image was? Is it the tone curve? Is it the color grading and the split toning? Is it the contrast and exposure? It's actually none of those things. The most important part of the editing process for any image, regardless of the subject or the genre, the most important part of the process is when you take a break and you step away. By all means, spend an hour editing that raw file, get really creative with the edit, and most importantly, get it to a place where you're happy with it. But please do yourself a favor, and before you hit export on Lightroom or Photoshop, just pause and take a break. You'll be really surprised at how much it will benefit your photography and the final result of that photo. So let me briefly explain my editing process. I could sit in front of this computer for hours editing images, but I know that in order to get the best results, I need to get as far away from this screen as possible. And there's a number of ways that you can do that. For me, I've really gotten into running this year. It's something that I do a number of times a week, and it's an exercise and an activity that enables me to be completely engrossed in that activity where I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not thinking about my photography or my edits. I'm literally just present in the moment. And that could be anything for you. It could just be simply walking away from your desk and going downstairs to read a photo book. Or it could just be going out to your local coffee shop and getting your favorite coffee. It's definitely something that I am also an advocate of. Gotta have caffeine. That is definitely gonna fuel the next time that you are in front of your desk editing that photo. Caffeine is the fuel for creativity, it would seem. Because when you get back to your computer and revisit that photo you were editing an hour ago, remember the one that you liked the last time you saw it? Well, this time you're going to notice so many things about that photo that you probably missed the first time round. And there have been so many times where I've revisited a photo edit and I've quite literally said to myself, what on earth were you thinking? You'll notice that the white balance is off. The image suddenly looks too warm or too cool. You'll think that colours have shifted. Maybe greens now look a little bit too yellow. And then there's things like exposure. You could have left that photo thinking that it was perfectly exposed, but now it all of a sudden looks too dark. And you have to remember that nothing's changed. You left that photo in a pretty decent place when you got up to go and get that coffee. So don't be alarmed if when you come back to your computer and you revisit that photo, if all of a sudden you just feel like you want to start from scratch. It happens to us all, and I actually think that it's a good thing. Hopefully this video demonstrates the importance of this step of the process, because those imperfections that you see when you revisit the photo, those are the things that people who are maybe looking at your photo for the first time with those fresh eyes and that fresh perspective, those are the potential things that clients and viewers of your images are going to see, and those are the things that we want to avoid. And it's a really, really easy and quick thing to fix if we do this process and we take the time to address those aspects of our edits. I repeat this process probably 2 or 3 times for my commercial shoots. Each time I revisit the process, I'm refining and tweaking the edits ever so slightly to get to that final result where I'm happy. And I appreciate that some of the photos that we edit are a bit inconsequential, where we don't necessarily need to labor over them for days and days, especially if we're just sharing snapshots and things on Instagram. You know, if you're not getting paid for the images, maybe that takes the pressure off. But I do feel like this part of the process is just something that we can definitely learn a lot from. We should want to get the best out of our images. And by repeating these steps, by taking that break and by revisiting the images numerous times, I think it really teaches us to be able to look at images objectively and being able to critique our work with a very fresh perspective and a very critical eye. That is definitely something that I think is going to pay dividends in your photography journey as you progress. In my opinion, the whole aim of this process should allow us to create more work that we feel like we've executed well, where the final photo captures the vision that we had in our mind for that edit. So a quick bonus tip for you before we wrap up this video, and I think this is a really important part of the process when we're trying to determine whether our photo edit is done, and that is how we decide to view our final images. You'll notice that I'm surrounded by screens. I have my phone, I have my laptop, and I have my fully calibrated desktop monitor. And whenever I'm doing any revisions within this process, I'm always looking at those images on as many different devices and different screens as possible. We don't know what the final viewer of our photo is going to be looking at that image on. They might be looking at it on their phone if they're scrolling through Instagram. They might be looking at it on a PC or a laptop that doesn't have a calibrated display. And our aim and our goal should be to get that image looking really representative across a number of different devices. So all I will do is make sure that I export that photo and I just kind of airdrop it to my phone, airdrop it to my laptop, and I will just use that as a kind of basis to see roughly where I'm at. And the aim isn't to get it necessarily looking exactly the same on each device, because maybe that isn't necessarily possible. But what you want to do is you want to get it to a place where you feel like it's a fairly good representation and fairly consistent across each device. You know, I do have the benefit of having a calibrated display, so what I see isn't too far away from what the end result will be, you know, regardless of monitoring. But if you don't necessarily have a calibrated desktop or a calibrated display, I feel like this part of the process will help you understand how others might look at your work. So just something there to have a think about, and it's an important part of the process that I think it's important that you don't miss out. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do consider giving the video a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button if you enjoyed the content and you would like to see more. New videos are posted every week on a Wednesday. So I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you got a few useful tips from this video, and do leave a comment down below and let me know if you did find it helpful, and let me know what else you would like to see on the channel in the future. That's it from me. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all next week.